Hey everyone, Keep7 Gaming here, back with another Magic the Gathering Arena video, and today we are playing just a mess of stuff that's just meant for reanimation in an 80-card Yorion pile. So, we've got 36 lands, just 2 of every dual land, 1 of every regular land, 4 Fabled Passages, 2 copies of Rogger and Zagoth Triumph, and then 1 copy of Ketria Savai and Indatha Triumphs. And then as far as the cards themselves, the creatures, the sorceries, the instants, all that stuff. We have 4 copies of Mire Triton. It's just an easy 2-mana 2/1 with Death Touch. Puts the top 2 cards of our library into our graveyard. We gain 2 life. Just a way to fill our graveyard to eventually, hopefully, pull things out of it. 1 copy of Tyrant Scorn, 1 copy of Angrath's Rampage. These are things that we can fetch with Niv Mizzet Reborn. These are also just good early disruption and early removal spells if we need them. For targeted specific removal, we have a ramp suite of Growth Spiral and Uro. I think everybody's probably very familiar with these cards, but Growth Spiral will just let us get a card in our hand, or put a card in our hand, and then if there's a land card in our hand, put that onto the battlefield. So great ramp, it's only 2 mana. Uro, same thing, great ramp, 3 mana. Put him on, you get 3 life, you draw a card, and then we can escape him later. You know, we can exile cards from our graveyard if we need to. Probably would be a little bit desperate if we want to do that, because we really want to save the stuff in our graveyard. But if you need a 6/6 body, it's a good way to do it. We have Chromatic Lantern so that we can kind of smooth out our lands if we really need to. We might not be getting this every single game, but if we do get it, it makes a lot of things like Eerie Ultimatum a lot better and easier. We have 6 copies of board clearance. We have 4 Shatter the Skies and 2 Ritual of Soots. Ritual of Soots would, of course, be great for the aggro matchup, and Shatter the Sky is just great for any matchup. We have 3 Tamiyo, so we can fetch specific things from our graveyard that have been milled, or we can mill ourselves looking for a specific card. 2 copies of Kenrith, which is just a great card to get onto the battlefield for all of the things that it can do. It's also great for bringing things out of the graveyard onto the battlefield. 4 copies of Cavalier of Thorns, great mill, a great way to get cards, land cards onto the battlefield, and then obviously milling yourself to get things into the battlefield so that you can pull them out with Eerie Ultimatum, with Tamiyo, or with Elspeth Conquers Death. We have 3 copies of Niv Mizzet Reborn. Just the amount of value that this card provides is incredible. You can just pull things from the top of your library into your hand on any combination of cards, and any color combination, I should say. And you can, when he enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each color pair, choose a card that's exactly those colors from among them. Put that chosen card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So, you could do like a Casualties of War or an Eerie Ultimatum. Casualties of War, you could do Tyrant Scorn, Angrath's Rampage, Growth Spiral, Shatter. Well, you can't really do Shatter the Sky or Ritual of Soot, but these are things that we'll be using. I guess we could throw a Time Wipe in here if we wanted to, so that we could fetch it with Niv Mizzet Reborn. So maybe we don't even want Niv Mizzet. Maybe we just want stuff that we'd want to pull from our graveyard to the battlefield. So let's see. Let's see what we could replace Niv with. What would be something good to replace Niv with? Kaya's Wrath. Kaya's Wrath wouldn't be a bad addition. But what would we want to bring from our graveyard to the battlefield? Right. I think a Dream Trawler wouldn't be a bad thing. Dream Trawlers are difficult to deal with. Niv Mizzet Perun. Now that's can't be countered. We don't really care about it being countered. Whenever you draw a card, whenever a player casts an instant, that's not bad. It's a 5/5. I think adding another Casualties wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And 1 more. Let's do like a Quartzwood Crasher. We're at 81. So let's... we'll We'll cut one Eerie Ultimatum. We'll throw in a Yurok. We'll do like one copy of Niv Mizzet Reborn. We're in 5 colors anyway, right? So we'll cut a Chromatic Lantern, throw in Niv Mizzet Reborn. So that's what we'll go with. Just a bunch of stuff that we want to mill, put into the graveyard, and then return to the battlefield. We can return it to the battlefield with Elspeth, with Eerie Ultimatum, with... Oh, okay, we're still at 81. What do we want to cut? We can cut one Kenrith. Is this enough stuff that we can return stuff to the battle? Or can we return enough things with what we have here, though? We can return stuff with Tamiyo. We can return stuff with Eerie Ultimatum. I feel like we want to keep the 2 Eerie Ultimatums. So maybe we go down to 2. And just go to Eerie Ultimatums. So I think that's what we'll go with. We'll go with this for now. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into some matches. Alright, our first opponent for the day is Azagwads. Okay, so we have some ramp. We have some early... We have some ramp, we have some early removal. We have Yurok. No plays till turn 3, but that's kind of like what's going to happen. And some early removal, so we'll stick with it. Whatever, why not? We have no plays till Uro, which means that if we don't have a land in our hand, or if we don't draw a land by the time we play Uro, it could be kind of meh. But do we have a way to play? We don't have a way to play Tyrant Scorn, which sucks. But hey, 5-color deck, it's going to happen. What are you going to do? Draw the Ritual of Soot. So that's something. That's an interesting card. Could be facing a lot of tokens here in a little bit. We need 3 greens and 2, so we have 1 there, 1 there. We need another green mana. And we might be able to cast Cavalier of Thorns soon. So that is an interesting combo. To use Amara to pump your Woodland Champion. We need 1 more black mana and we can Ritual of Soot. There it is. That should slow you down. So we can play Yurok. Try to kind of stabilize here. Whatever they play next, if it's more than 3 mana, we can Elspeth Conquers Death. Do we get anything back? I don't think so. So they Conclave Tribunal our Yurok, which sucks. They play Woodland Champion. So I think we can't play... How much mana? 2 mana? We'll play our Quartzwood Crasher. See how they want to deal with that. They can't. So we'll play our Kenrith. We'll give everything haste. Full attack with all. If we get the damage in with the Quartzwood Crasher, we get a 6/6. An 11/11, right. Eat it. Boom shakalaka. Next opponent for the day is Dandy. So we have a Cavalier, we have a Mire Triton, we have no ramp. And we have an Elspeth, but no way to play the Elspeth. I think we'll do it. Not optimistic. We get the Mire Triton down. Ah, we lose 2 lands. That's a fucking bummer. They're playing Paradise Druid, which is comforting. It's good to know that they are not playing super fast. We'll attack with the Mire Triton. I doubt that they'll take that trade. Why not? If we fetch a green with Fabled Passage, we can play our Cavalier. Okay, so they're playing Mutate. Mutate could be a problem for us. Looks like Gruul Mutate, which is interesting. So we'll go fetch a green here. So that we can eventually play our Cavalier. We'll play Tamiyo. I guess... what do we want? Let's just dig for Shatter, I guess. Wow, we draw it. No way to play it. We have 1 white, so we need to draw into a white. So they play Robber. And they're going to kill our Tamiyo. They take an Angrath's Rampage. That's fucking brutal.
You're making it difficult to work.
We have the Ritual of Soot. Can we play the Ritual of Soot? Lol. So we can play Chromatic Lantern here. And we have the Shatter of the Sky next turn. Just get Yorion into our hand. Dig for what? Dig for casualties? How crazy is it that we got a Shatter of the Sky on the first fucking go? That hurts. Come on, man. You're seriously playing Wilt?
I will not stand for such violence.
Kills our Mire Triton. We have no way to play. There it is. Now we watch them rebuild. If they can. Adventurous Impulse. So we'll put down the Cav. We can Uro next turn if we want. We can Elspeth Conquers Death the Ox if we think that's going to be a problem. We also have Niv in hand. Okay, I think they're running out of options here. They take our Chromatic Lantern, which I hate you. You wilted one and you stole the other. They play it. You're an asshole. I'll just... oh, can I even get a Casualties back? No, but I can get a Dream Trawler. So I'm going to Elspeth your Ox. I'm going to bring back my Uro. I'm going to get rid of that. 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 And I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah, that's it. Get Uro. We get some pluses here. We get some life. Get another Elspeth Conquers Death. We'll attack with Cavalier. Do you want to block? I don't think so, no. What do you want to do? Nothing but a Paradise Druid on the board. Electro-Dominance. Who saw that coming? No attacks with the Paradise Druid. That's game. Coolio. Alrighty. GG. Alright. Our next opponent is Robert Majorca. Robert Majorca. Welcome to the game, Robert Majorca. So, 2 bombs that we probably don't want until later in the game. 1 source of ramp. 1 way to play any of our cards. I just don't like that I have 2 of these. I wish I only had 1. We'll keep it. I'm going to regret this. Hopefully Robert plays quickly because boy oh boy. We don't have anything to do for quite a while. I'm going to go fetch a green so that we can play our Cavalier when the time comes, but I guess Chromatic Lantern makes that kind of a non-issue, but our last opponent was playing fucking Wilt. So, that's a thing. What do I want on the battlefield? I guess Blood Crypt. I know 1/1 is not my biggest concern right now. Bloodthirsty Aerialist. So it's one of these decks. We might lose if we just can't draw into a... Ooh, there's an Elspeth Conquers Death. Pay 2 life for that. As long as you get rid of those threats, these decks are nothing. These decks are fucking jokes. We could even honestly like play out like a Cavalier of Thorns, let it die to the Vampire of the Dire Moon, and then let Cavalier come back. It might be like a 10 head play. So he makes a cat, he attacks, he gets the life gain. I'll get the Rogren out. Did we mill anything good? No. I suppose now we have to... Or no, we can let Cavalier die this turn. It dies to Vampire of the Dire Moon. It comes back with a +1/+1 counter. Oh, no, that sucks. Now that can't happen. So now we need... We'll get the Fabled Passage, because I think we might be able to put in Dream Trawler. Them putting the Pacifism on Cavalier of Thorns really fucking hurt. Dream Trawler will help. I guess we can ditch Niv Mizzet if we need to. And just prepare for Eerie Ultimatum. Revenge of Ravens. Doesn't hurt us as much as I think they think it will. We just need to draw into a... we just need to draw into some life gain real bad. Or, I'm sorry, we just need to draw into some... whatchamacallit? Board clearance. So get us some life back. We lose a little bit. Can use Niv Mizzet as a blocker. Get rid of the Vampire of the Dire Moon. Kill a Johnny. Get some life back. We might have to use Niv Mizzet to block the 8/8 here, which would suck. But on the plus side, we get Eerie Ultimatum next, I believe. Next turn, or we can make them sacrifice it with Angrath's Rampage. Sacrifice their little 8/8. Which would just be, oh, such a shame for them. We can bring back Uro. The Revenge of Ravens means a heck of a lot less. Okay, that kind of sucks. Niv, you got to take one for the team here. Any number of permanent cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Don't have a lot there yet. So let's see. Let's Growth Spiral first. There's a Cav. It keeps us alive for a little bit longer. I guess we'll take the Savai Triome. We take 1 damage, but we gain some life. He is a 9/9. But we do have a Shatter. Do we have a Ritual of Soot in there yet? No. So we can block the... Ooh. Yeah, we can... Is this in... This is a sorcery. So we can block the Chronos and take 9. Ditch Tamiyo, that would suck. That does suck. But Eerie Ultimatum fetches her back. So we might actually just take the 9 here. Cavalier of Thorns, you are going to take a hit. Or no, you're not. Oh, fuck. Can I... It has Menace? Ugh. He's making this really difficult. We'll go fetch Casualties of War. Come on, buddy. Enchant. Wait a minute. Let's see. Legendary creature. It's not an enchantment creature. So we'll kill the enchantment. We'll kill a land. We'll kill a creature. We'll kill an artifact. Oh, no. Kill. Actually, we'll kill this, and that. And then we'll make him sacrifice a creature with Angrath's Rampage. We got no other plays, so we'll put Yorion in here. Attack with our Dream Trawler. We'll keep Sacred Foundry in our hand in case they have more, like, hate for Dream Trawler. But next turn we have Eerie Ultimatum. So we can get Tamiyo, we can get Niv, we can get Elspeth, maybe? Probably the best move. Niv Mizzet, Elspeth, Tamiyo. Actually, I guess we don't need Elspeth Conquers Death. Yurok. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just gonna hang on to those. What else do we want? I guess more casualties of war. The more stuff he brings out, the better. Nope. Next. And we have the Death Toucher on the ground with Yurok. Do 7 damage, gain 7 life. Unless he has like a Shatter the Sky, this should be in the bag. But even if he shatters the sky, Kaya's Wrath, okay. What do we want to get back? Let's get back Dream Trawler. We can return Eerie Ultimatum to our hand with Tamiyo. Oh, we should have left Dream Trawler in the fucking graveyard. I guess Dream Trawler's just our insurance, to be honest. Yeah. Okay. GG. Goodbye. Alright, so post-games wrap-up. I like it. I like it a lot. It's super fun. Bringing things back with Elspeth Conquers Death and Eerie Ultimatum. Tamiyo is super fun. Milling your graveyard with Cavalier of Thorns and Tyrant, Mire Triton, and sweeping the board with Shatter and Ritual is super fun. If you are able to get a Kenrith down and then bring something back with his ability, that'd be fun too. And, just playing your Dream Trawlers, your Niv Mizzets, Quartz Crasher, these are all cards that are just absolute bombs when you play them, and just getting them all individually together, which we got close to doing in that last game. We got quite a number of these, and then I did not expect a Wrath on the board from the Ajani Life Game player, but lo and behold, he had it. He might have wrathed us, but I think we just outvalued him. I think our deck has a lot more value than his deck has, so he can wrath the board, but we have way more ways to bring things back and way more ways to rebuild than he did, and we had way more mana on the board and way more ways to get rid of his mana. Just outvalue him entirely. Some things you could do is, I think, because we struggled in that Ajani game, if you're going to play this in best of one, maybe some more targeted removal. Maybe cut back a Shatter the Sky and maybe just put in some more targeted removal. The one thing about cutting back on the board clearances, though, is you're playing an 80 card deck, and you need to have more than you think. I've been playing a lot of Yorion control stuff, and 4 Shatter the Skies in one 80 card deck is not enough. You're never going to draw it. You're going to need it, and you're never going to draw it. So maybe keep the board clearances, or the board wipes, keep them as is, maybe even add one. We never even really casted Growth Spiral, and we did okay. But there's some trimming you could do. You can maybe cut down to 3 Elspeth Conquers Deaths. You can maybe cut down to 3 Growth Spirals. You could maybe cut down to 3 Mire Tritons, and then throw in more Tyrant Scorns, Angrath's Rampage. Heartless Act is a great, target removal and stuff like that. So, small targeted removals. You could even probably cut Chromatic Lantern. Since we're down to 2, you could probably even drop it down to 1, maybe even 0, and just put in more targeted removal. And just, pray to God that you line up your mana well. But Chromatic Lantern did help us cast things like Eerie Ultimatum, but I don't think, eventually we just had so much mana, I don't think it would have really mattered, but Chromatic Lantern does help, smooth things over on in certain cases. It did help us cast Shatter the Sky one time, I believe, so it does have its place here. But I think there are things you can trim to get more targeted removal, which might be helpful. And if you're playing best of 1, you might want to do that. If you're playing best of 3, maybe just throw it in the sideboard. And then if you need targeted removal, like we had that one Ajani we just couldn't get rid of, you could just sideboard in more targeted removal, things like Glass Caskets, things like Heartless Act, things that remove, creatures, more Tyrant Scorns, Murderous Rider, stuff like that. So it's definitely a super fun, I think Yorion decks are super fun to play, even in not meta ones. I just, playing with 80 cards is just super interesting. And the more the merrier. I mean, you just have so much here to play with. You have Uro, you have ways to just mill yourself so that you can play Uro faster. You mill yourself so you can bring things back. This is a reanimation deck. It is all about bringing things back, but it's not what you have to do. You can bring Uro back and just kind of exile some stuff and things like that. But there's a lot here, and there's a lot of fun to be had. Bringing stuff back and just swinging away at your opponent, clearing their board, and then just swinging away. And just goes to show how powerful Uro is, because he's just a nightmare for your opponents. I mean, this card, there's a reason this card is $40 in paper. There's a reason this card is being played in top meta decks right now, and Bant Ramp and Sultai Ramp and stuff like that. There's a reason this card is super good, and there's a reason Growth Spiral is super good too. So I mean, I think any deck that you really build that includes these 2 cards and a Yorion and stuff like that, you're probably not going to go wrong. I mean, the trifecta of Cavalier, Uro, Growth Spiral, and Yorion on top of all that. I mean, you just can't go wrong. You just have 80 cards that you can just mill yourself with, and you never really have to worry about getting milled because you have 20 extra cards. In a 60 card deck, you might have to worry about all this milling and exiling, but in a 80 card deck, it's just I was never even worried about it. But yeah, super fun deck to play. So if you have spare wild cards and you want to spend it on some of this stuff, I wouldn't say no. I mean, if you this is a great deck to play in casual if you just want to go out and have some fun, play some big creatures and bring them back from the graveyard and stuff like that. So and I mean, you could seriously probably play this on ladder a little bit. If you play this in best of 3, you're not going to be playing this in best of 1 on the ladder. And I would say you could probably get somewhere near platinum with this if you play it right. I mean, again, any deck that plays Casualties of War, Uro, and Yorion, and Shadow of the Sky, these are basically all just a smattering of good cards. You can get pretty far with this. You could at very least get through silver with this, and then once you get into gold, you might get run over. But if you're playing this in best of 3 and you can sideboard pretty well, I mean, yeah, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to make your way into gold and through gold. But not a recommendation for, if you're playing serious competitive. I wouldn't really play a five color deck. You probably want to just stick to the meta decks if you're just trying to climb ladder. But if you're just trying to have fun, you've gotten to your rank and you just kind of want to have fun playing at your rank, go for it. But otherwise, it's just a super fun deck to play in the casual lobbies, I guess you would call them. But yeah, so thank you for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.